I believe the next Mass Effect game does in fact take place in the far future and even after Mass Effect Andromeda. The recent teases and information revealed at the past N7 Day in 2023 has convinced me without a shadow of a doubt that this game takes place after Mass Effect Andromeda. This is saying a lot because before this moment in time, especially before N7 Day of 2023, I was dead set on this game not being set in the far future. I thought for sure it was only going to be set momentarily after Mass Effect 3. I even made a video about it on my channel that we are now going to forget about because I have other thoughts now. There are a handful of pieces of evidence on why I truly believe that this next Mass Effect game takes place hundreds of years in the future and shortly after Mass Effect Andromeda. Very shortly, in fact. The first piece of evidence I found in the new character poster that BioWare released for the new character they showed off. In this picture, one of the secret interactions when you zoom in on the club bar concept art that is snuck into the picture towards the bottom, there is clearly a conversation with an Angara and an Asari happening in the picture that's being talked about. All sorts of different speculations going on there. Subscribe if you want to hear my thoughts on it. The Angara clearly have not had any interaction with the Milky Way race until Mass Effect Andromeda. This is what we know to be a fact. In Mass Effect Andromeda, we learn that the Angara had not made any contact with any sort of Milky Way life until the Arks arrived, and furthermore until Scott Ryder and the crew and the Pathfinder crew were able to make contact with them and get to know them. So I think the first big piece of evidence that this next Mass Effect game takes place after Mass Effect Andromeda and far in the future is that there's literally an Angara shown in the concept art for this game. There really can't be any Angara interactions prior to Mass Effect Andromeda. It just wouldn't really make any sense unless they introduce something else about the lore of Mass Effect that would prove otherwise. But with the information we have right now, it's impossible for there to be any Milky Way race interaction with an Angara unless it's during or after the time frame of Mass Effect Andromeda, and more specifically and possibly more important, within Andromeda itself. And just furthermore on Andromeda, another piece of evidence we have here is one of the access code requirements that they were leaking parts of the new teaser trailer with. One of them states that there is an Andromeda distress signal. An Andromeda distress signal. There's really no Andromeda distress signal that we would know about, especially if it's being received in the Milky Way. The only thing that we know as far as the distress signal goes for the Andromeda galaxy would be what they teased at the end of the story in Mass Effect Andromeda with the Quarian Ark sending out a distress signal, a call for help. That's really the only thing we know so far when it comes to an Andromeda distress signal being sent out. And it's really the only thing that makes sense in this case. Could this mean something else? Possibly, but more on that in just a second. Stay tuned. Another huge giveaway that I think BioWare gave us is a year that this game could possibly take place in. And one of the access codes, once again, giving us another snippet of the teaser trailer that was released on N7 Day 2023, was access code Oculon 2819 Defiance. Oculon obviously being one of the original rejected titles for Mass Effect back when it was first being developed. Defiance obviously being a hint to the famous Liara quote that was teased last year. And 2819. 2819 is the exact year that Mass Effect Andromeda takes place. 2819 would also be the same year that the Quarian Ark in Andromeda would have sent out a distress signal. And I think these two things, paired up with the literal sighting of an Angara in official poster art for this game, just shows that this game has to take place either during the time or shortly after the events of Mass Effect Andromeda, and more likely within Andromeda itself. One last thing that I think could be a little bit of a hint that this game takes place much farther in the future than we might seem. The armor itself of this new N7 operative that we are starting to know now. I've never seen any armor like this in Mass Effect before. It looks way more futuristic, way more Blade Runner-y. It looks like definitely a step up in terms of just style and technology and just futurism compared to previous Mass Effect art, especially ones during the original trilogy. This leads me to believe that I think whoever this N7 operative is, more on that also later, I think they are wearing armor from what would be the human N7 program in 2819. And if all of these little hidden texts in the teases when it comes to the year of Andromeda, an Andromeda distress signal, seeing an Angara in an official poster for the game, I think this all leads into what was teased at the ends of Mass Effect Andromeda and what will probably kick off the story of this game, the Quarian Arc DLC, or at least what should have been. And that's how this game is going to get started. We're going to pick up right where we left off. But that theory is for an entire another video itself. Subscribe if you want to see that one. Like this video if you enjoyed it. And please comment down below of what you think of this theory and your own theories of the next Mass Effect game. I think we were given some pretty big hints here on the timeline for Mass Effect 5, or whatever they're going to call it. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you, guys.